Ireland, once a beacon of hope and resilience, now finds itself grappling with an unprecedented crisis. The post-COVID era brought about a perfect storm of challenges, with a surge in immigration becoming a focal point of national concern. The arrival of Ukrainian refugees, fleeing the horrors of war, further compounded the situation. While Ireland's humanitarian response was initially lauded, the sheer scale of the influx began to expose cracks in the system. The nation, already grappling with a severe housing crisis and strained resources, found itself struggling to accommodate the newcomers. Public figures like Conor McGregor and Garron Noone have been vocal in their dissent, highlighting the plight of ordinary citizens caught in the crossfire. The situation has become a powder keg, with tensions simmering beneath the surface. The nation's ability to absorb these newcomers while safeguarding the well-being of its citizens is being put to the test. The Emerald Isle, once a symbol of resilience, now faces an existential question. Can it navigate this crisis and emerge stronger on the other side? At the heart of Ireland's immigrant crisis lies a chronic housing shortage, a problem that predates the recent surge, but has been brought into sharp focus by it. The lack of affordable housing has plagued the nation for years, leaving many citizens struggling to find a place to call home. The influx of immigrants has only exacerbated this issue, pushing an already strained system to the brink. With an estimated deficit of over 250,000 homes, the competition for housing has become fierce. Rents have skyrocketed, pushing many native-born Irish citizens out of the market. Stories of families forced to live in overcrowded conditions or even on the streets have become all too common. The dream of home ownership, once a cornerstone of Irish society, now seems unattainable for many. The housing crisis has become a lightning rod for discontent, fueling resentment and division within Irish society. Until the housing crisis is addressed, finding a sustainable solution to Ireland's immigrant crisis will remain a distant dream. Statistics paint a stark picture of the scale of immigration to Ireland in recent years. In the year leading up to April 2024, over 120,000 foreigners moved to Ireland, the highest number since 2007. This influx has significantly altered the demographic landscape of the nation, with 20% of the population now being foreign-born. Approximately 110,000 Ukrainian refugees have been granted temporary protection in Ireland since February 2022. The asylum system, already struggling to cope with existing backlogs, has been overwhelmed by the surge in applications. As of May 2024, over 1,780 male economic asylum seekers were homeless in Dublin alone, living in tents and makeshift shelters. With asylum applications expected to exceed 20,000 in 2024, the situation shows no signs of abating. These statistics underscore the unprecedented nature of the challenge facing Ireland. The influx of immigrants has not been without its consequences, as social and political fault lines have begun to emerge across Ireland. The once harmonious society is now grappling with rising tensions, fueled by anxieties over housing, resources, and cultural identity. Anti-immigrant sentiment, once a fringe element, has gained traction, finding fertile ground in the anxieties of a nation grappling with change. Protests against immigration have become more frequent, with some escalating into violence. The burning of potential refugee shelters and clashes between protesters and police have become grim reminders of the fragility of social cohesion. The far right, previously relegated to the margins of Irish politics, has seized upon this discontent, exploiting it to further its agenda. Independent political candidates, some with controversial backgrounds, have gained support by tapping into public anxieties about immigration. Until these underlying issues are addressed, the potential for further social and political unrest remains a real and present danger. The current crisis in Ireland has brought into sharp focus the potential pitfalls of far-left open border policies. While proponents argue that such policies are rooted in compassion and a desire for a more equitable world, Critics contend that they are unsustainable and ultimately detrimental to both the host nation and the immigrants themselves. The influx of immigrants has placed an enormous strain on Ireland's social safety net, a system already struggling to meet the needs of its own citizens. The provision of housing, healthcare, education, and other essential services has been stretched to the limit, leading to longer wait times and a decline in the quality of services for everyone. Moreover, the open door policy has created a magnet effect, encouraging more people to make the perilous journey to Ireland, often with unrealistic expectations. The far left's insistence on prioritising the needs of immigrants over those of native-born citizens has further fueled divisions within society. The result is a backlash against immigration, undermining social cohesion and creating fertile ground for extremism. The current crisis serves as a cautionary tale, highlighting the need for a more balanced and sustainable approach to immigration. The escalating crisis in Ireland has not gone unnoticed by prominent figures, many of whom have been vocal in expressing their concerns. Conor McGregor, the world-renowned mixed martial arts fighter, and Garron Noone, a prominent social media commentator, have emerged as outspoken critics of the government's handling of the situation. McGregor, known for his fiery rhetoric, has not minced words in condemning what he sees as the government's prioritization of immigrants over the needs of its own citizens. He has repeatedly called for stricter border controls and a more sustainable approach to immigration, arguing that the current influx is overwhelming the country's resources and infrastructure. Noone, a rising voice in Irish social commentary, has echoed these sentiments, using his platform to highlight the plight of ordinary Irish citizens struggling to cope with the consequences of mass immigration. Both McGregor and Noone have faced criticism for their stance, with some accusing them of xenophobia and fear-mongering. However, their supporters argue that they are simply giving voice to the concerns of many Irish people who feel ignored by the political establishment. Whether one agrees with their views or not, their outspokenness has undoubtedly contributed to the national conversation about immigration.